you ever felt like your story is too messy to matter? Like you shared something raw and 5 seconds later you're thinking, should I delete that? What if the truth you're most scared to say out loud is exactly what someone else needs to hear in order to start believing in themselves again? Today's episode isn't about the platforms or popularity. It's about the quiet kind of influence. The kind that starts when nobody else believes but you. Today, we're talking about revival. Not revival in the churches. We're talking about revival in the homes, revival in marriages, revival in mothers. Because leadership doesn't start on a stage. It starts when you decide to go first, even when your hands shake. So if you've ever felt like you're too unseen, too unqualified, or too vulnerable to make an impact, this conversation will remind you just how powerful your yes really is. You're about to meet one of my closest friends who lives that truth out every single day. So, grab your journal, open up your heart, and let's dive into what we have today. Sit back, kick back, and let's get started. This is the School of Influence. The School of Influence, where legends are made and legacies are started. Interviews and insights to grow your impact on social media, networking, and stages. Class is now in session. We're gonna take on the world. Hey, welcome everybody. I'm your host, Devin, also known as the Man in Orange, and I'm excited to bring to you this session of the School of Influence. Now, before I bring her on, I want you to see exactly why I'm so honored to have Alyssa on our show today. She's a transformational speaker, she's a coach, she's a voice of revival for women across the country. And the moment that you hear her speak, you'll understand why. So take a look at this.
I believe that guilt is killing connection. And when we throw that out the window, we get to walk in love and friendship. I was laying in bed, just about ready to fall asleep, and I heard this voice. Alyssa, revival starts with moms knowing who I am and who they are in me. Lord, don't you see how unqualified I am? I have 3 little boys. I am so busy every day, and my life is chaotic. In the midst of this spiral of all the excuses of why I was unqualified and why there was someone so much better than me for the job, he said, Alyssa, feed my sheep. Revival starts in the home. He said, Mom, should we pray for him? And I said, yeah, buddy, we should. Turned around, we gave him some snacks, and I prayed for him. And my son, as we were driving away, said, Mom, I see why you love praying for people so much. And in that moment, revival in the home became crystal clear to me. What happens when our children start to rise up and build each other up instead of tearing each other down? What happens then? It starts with you as the mom. It starts with seeing revival in your heart.
What she brings to the table is a unique perspective of what it looks like to be a revival mom, to be a source of transformation in your home.
I mean, she captivated me, and as I panned to the audience, everybody was on the edge of their seat, wanting more. She left the crowd wanting more.
And it is time, moms, for us to raise up, to become the thermostat in the house and not the thermometer, to become the one who is willing to stand boldly and say, this is what I believe, this is what I've seen, and this is what we get to do. It is our time to stand up, to let that revival flow in our heart and over onto our children. So then it changes this culture. Are you ready? Let's go.
Come on, somebody. That's what I'm talking about. She lives what she teaches. And today, she's here to take us behind the curtain of what that influence looks like. Let's welcome my friend, Alyssa Rahn. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Hey, Devin. Wow. Thank you, one, for that introduction. Definitely need you to follow me around and just introduce me everywhere. And I'm just so excited to be here with you, the master of influence yourself. So,
Well, we're so honored, and I'm so excited for what the listeners get to hear today about your story, about your power of influence, and how you kind of grew into that, and this whole thing of Revival Mom. And I know I haven't been a part of like the whole part of it, but I've got to see a lot of the inside parts of what that looks like and the process of it. And so I know that the listeners today are going to be sitting at the edge of their seats ready to hear about how this works. So tell us a little bit about first about your family and then tell us how this kind of started.
oh, I would love to. I am a mom to three little boys. Right now, they're 7, 5, and 3. And so I always joke that my house is pretty chaotic and really stinky. And that makes me a little bit nervous since they are so young. Like, what am I going to get in another 10 years? Gosh, guys, gotta pray for me because that's a scary thought. But I've been married to my husband going on 14 years now. And we live in our hometown where we grew up and gosh, just loving life. We love to just spend time with our boys, taking walks and playing sports and all the things. And so it's really just this normal mom life that I live and that I love. So yeah, there's that. That's about my family.
That's good. So you've been married how long?
14 years in September.
14 years, 14 years. Wow. And so I know that you're going to start and diving in about what that has kind of looked like. But if there's people who aren't married or they don't have kids right now, and maybe they're not a mom, but they have a future of, can you kind of forecast what they can take out of this?
Ooh, what they can take. Yes, your influence spans even outside of your family. Uh, when I first stepped into Revival Mom, but also just being a mom, I realized that I really wanted to just help women, help people to see just how far their influence goes. And especially with Revival Mom, showing them that when you overflow, when you can be this person that is making a change, that overflows onto the people around you. Whether you are married or not, whether you have kids or not, your immediate family, your friends, your community, um, how you act, the person that you are starts to overflow and you start to see changes around you. And so you can look forward to as we step into what we're talking about, just to see how you, even as a single person or you without kids, have the qualifications already to start influencing those around you.
That's so good. That's so good. I just wanted to make sure that, somebody didn't jump off when there's something that they could definitely glean because you have so much wisdom and so much influence. And I know that you're focused on moms, and that's so amazing because as a single dad, it's very important that, moms reach people, dads reach people, single moms, single dads, whatever it looks like. We need revival in the family. We need influence in the family. And whether you have that family now or you're preparing for it in the future, these tips, these keys are going to be important for you as well. So take us on a little bit of a journey.
Yeah, definitely. I want to jump in as you were talking about speaking, and that I'm speaking now and all the things. I wanted to take people back, oh gosh, 10 years probably now. And I remember standing in the grocery store line, and my only goal was to say the cashier's name, to say, "Bye, John. Bye, Sue. Have a good day." Because I was someone who was so nervous and so shy and so scared of just talking to people I didn't know that I literally had to have that goal for myself. When I go to the store, I have to say goodbye and say their name. That's all I got to do. And so then fast forward, and I'm laying in my bed one night about ready to fall asleep. I had just put the kids down and I hear God say, "Alyssa, revival starts with moms knowing who I am and who they are in me. And I was like, that's really cool. Okay, I'm going to pray on that. And then he was like, no. And he said it again. And I instantly knew what he was asking me to do. But in that moment, I just thought, there is no way, Lord. My husband doesn't even know if he believes in you. My children really don't want anything to do with you. I get my Bible out, I go to pray, and they go to the other room, they cover their ears, like they want nothing to do with it. My family doesn't even really believe in you. I mean, how can I talk to moms about being revival in their home when I have...
Well, pardon the interruption, but let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like your story was meant to impact thousands or millions of lives, but you literally just didn't know where to start? Did you know that there's over 2.9 billion people watching social media every single day? That's literally the biggest stage in the entire world. And yet most people are completely invisible on it. Why? Because they don't know how to tell their story in a way that actually connects to other people. And that, my friends, is exactly why I created Stories to Stages. We help you craft your entire story, professionally edit your video, and then we publish it across all major platforms. Plus, I'm going to give you access to my entire storytelling bootcamp. This is over $25,000 worth of value, but right now you can get the entire thing for just $7. $7. Because this isn't just a course, this is a launching pad. We've helped people with no audience, no experience, finally share their story with confidence and to get real reach. Because your story told in the right way involves and moves people. So go to stories2stages.com and grab your $7 spot with the code of podcast1. Your story was not meant to stay silent. So let's get seen, let's get heard, let's get paid, and let's set people free. So go to stories2stages.com, grab your $7 spot, and use the code podcast1 and get yours today. Now, back to the show.
All of this, my family doesn't even, like, come on, there has to be a pastor's wife, there has to be someone who's went to seminary, there has to be someone who at least has a husband who also believes in God to lead this for you, to teach women how to see this. And let's not even talk about how chaotic my house is. With 3 little boys, I was in the grocery store the other day and one's running down the aisle, one's in the cart crying, and one's hiding in the shelf. And I'm just like, where do I go? What do I do? And it was then that God just said, Alyssa, feed my sheep. Revival starts in the home. And, so I had to really overcome all those things that I felt disqualified me to step out and to start encouraging and empowering moms in this area.
Wow, that's so good. I love that you really set up for people that maybe don't feel qualified of what their influence is supposed to be, of what their calling is supposed to be. Looking around me, God, everyone else, look around me. This is not the perfect scenario. I don't want to do this, and it doesn't make any sense. But it's so important that we listen to that still small voice inside of us. We listen to what really fuels us, even when it doesn't make sense around us. And so what did it feel like as you continued to dive into that? But my husband doesn't maybe believe. My kids are going crazy. My house is a mess, and yet you want to put something else on my plate? That sounds like a lot of work. How did you process some of that?
Oh, it took many months. It took people speaking into my life. It took coaches coaching me through the mental blocks of it all. And gosh, just a lot of prayer and just taking one small step at a time. Because, when he called me to this, it took me probably 8 months before I actually, for the first time, shared in a powerful way that really, that I think really connected with people. And through all that, there were so many just obstacles to overcome, not just in my mindset, but in my marriage, with me stepping out into this place of faith that my husband wasn't used to. And so there was growth there. With my children, praying over them or reading the Bible to them, it took some time for them to kind of get used to that and to see it over and over. And, so it was just this beautiful process of one step at a time.
Yeah, that's so good. It sounds like, you had to overcome a lot of things. So tell us a little bit about that and what you kind of want to leave us or give us for a tip here.
Yeah. So this is what I want you to know is that the things that you feel disqualify you are actually your qualifiers. The things you think disqualify you, the husband that doesn't believe, the kids who don't want anything to do with God, the fact that you've never gone to Bible school or any of these things, or maybe for you, you're feeling called to, I don't know, to just go out and speak about business. And you're thinking, oh, but I haven't made the six figures yet. I haven't had hundreds of clients. I haven't, but you're feeling led into that arena. You're feeling led into that area. There are things that you have gone through that you feel like are disqualifying you that are actually your qualifiers. Because this is what I know, this is what I have found in my journey thus far, is that those things, one, my child was the thing that catapulted me into Revival Mom. See, a few months after God had that conversation with me, we were driving through a bad part of town one day, and I saw a man standing on the side of the road holding a sign. And my son, who was 6 at the time and just learning to read, he's like, "Mom, what does that say?" I said, "It says, 'God bless,' buddy." He goes, "Why is he standing on the side of the road?" And so we got to have a pretty powerful and short conversation. And he said, "Mom, should we pray for him?" I thought, "Yeah, buddy, we should." And this was the boy who, anytime I would get my Bible out or go to pray, he would roll his eyes so hard you could hear them hitting the back of his head. And he asked me to go pray for this man. So I turned around, I gave the man some snacks, I prayed for him. And as we were leaving, my son said, "Mom, I see why you love praying for people." And it was in that moment that revival starting in the home became crystal clear to me. And so it was that disqualifier of my son doesn't want anything to do with God, but now he is seeing the fruit of it. And then take my husband, who didn't know if he believed a year and a half ago, to just last week at the time of this recording, asked me to baptize him. See, it's going from this place of this is what's disqualifying me to now I've walked through it. God has walked me through it. If I don't know if I didn't take that first step of obedience, if we would be where we are right now. But what I do know is that throughout the last year and a half of me following those steps, taking those small steps, now we have gotten to the point of true revival in my home. And so just be encouraged that the things that you're saying, I can't do it because, no, you can do it because.
Oh, I love that. Wow. I continue to see like different parallels of things that you and I have gone through. And, even just to start this show, Alyssa, it was such a pain. My computer broke down, the whole studio didn't work, all my videos I started at the beginning got corrupted. But the Lord continued to press in and say, Devin, you have to help people share their stories. Devin, you have to help people gain their influence. And I'm like, but God, it's just not working. And once I continued to persevere through that, and I launched the Stories to Stages thing to be able to help a million people share their stories across social media. It was at that moment when the studio got set up here, and my son Jacoby came home for a weekend visit from his treatment facility, and he comes down. He's like, "Dad, are you doing TV shows again?" I'm like, well, but it's a little different than being on TV, but yeah, kind of. And he said, "Well, I want to do one." I said, you don't like people. You don't like to talk. So what exactly do you want to do?" And he said, Dad, I want to help people.
Mm.
I want to help people not have to go through what I did. I want to help parents understand what I did and why I did it and how now I can help their kids and help them get through it.
Wow.
And so think about how, like, if you wouldn't have pressed through, who knows where your kids, where your husband would be at in the journey. And for me, if I wouldn't have pressed through some of that adversity, that hardness it becomes difficult to be that person of influence and to step out and do those things. But God put his finger down and said, no, I told you I have your son. You
Mm.
just do what I ask you to do and I'll take care of the rest. Our responsibility in influence is to be able to take it to the next level by being obedient to following our purpose, for following our passion. And I'm so excited to get to hear about your husband and what God's doing in him as well as with your kids. It's so good. It's so good. So thank you for sharing that. And adversity is hard. Adversity is so hard.
Yes, it really is. But this is what I found too, is that in that time, that is what is bringing your increase of territory. It's what's bringing your increase of influence, right? Just even with Jacoby, like he said, I want to help kids now because of what I've gone through. It was in that pressing. It was in the adversity, the hard. It was in that time that who he's meant to be was almost born, and the calling that he has and the people that he's going to help. And that is for you too, for you watching. It is in those hard times. See, I realized my influence started after I had my first son and I had postpartum depression. And I started to talk into moms' lives because postpartum depression 7 years ago, it was mentioned, but it wasn't really talked about. It's still not talked about much. And then to move into, revival. And then just recently, I've had people over the last probably 6 months, they'd say, Alyssa, you're stepping into more. There's more there. I had someone say, Alyssa, you're about ready to have your territory increased. And in my mind, this was a rosy walk, right? It was like, oh, yes, like God's going to increase my territory. This is awesome. Like, let's go, Lord. And then because I just want to be vulnerable. In the last month, I experienced a miscarriage of our daughter that my husband had been praying for and wanting for all of our marriage. And it has been in that pressing. See, don't hear what I'm not saying, right? God didn't cause this to give me the territory. He's just using it for the good. He's using it for the good, and he's increasing my territory even more amongst moms, right? Because now I see it. Now I can speak into this, something I didn't have compassion for or understand before. Now I have that. God used that to bring my husband closer to him and ultimately asked me to baptize him. So it's in that crushing, it's in those moments where you're just like, Lord, I don't know that I can do this. And you're on your knees and you're weeping. And he's saying, I know, and I'm weeping with you. And it will become a place of influence for you to go out and speak life into other people.
Wow. It's so powerful to recognize that we all go through those crushing moments. And, thank you for being so vulnerable and sharing those hard moments. Because a lot of people listening have gone through hard moments and maybe haven't had the strength yet to get up. But because of your obedience and because of you leaning in to saying, okay, I have to get up. I have to move forward. I have to believe. And even though I don't understand why, I get to move forward because I understand that I am supposed to still lead this and that nothing can stop me. And I love what you said about the crushing. Can you say that again about the crushing?
What did I say? Okay, that you're crushing, right? The season, the moment of the crushing, of the pressing, that is what is expanding your territory. That is what is expanding your influence.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
That crushing is what brings that expansion. I love that. And so even in the midst of this, like you've already launched the Revival Mom podcast, and that's going and it's going amazing. And so now you've launched the Revival Mom Academy, but you didn't do it with like a ton of hype. You didn't do it with like going all over the place and going crazy. You did it with just the pureness of your heart. And so I really feel like this was an opportunity for your expansion to where you could have shut this all down and you could have said, you know what, I'm done. But instead, you're stepping into it and saying, okay, Lord, you said that there's going to be expanding in the crushing. And so take us a little bit on that journey. What did it take for you to continue to say yes in that journey of keeping going with the Revival Mom Academy?
I got to share this with you. So the day that I miscarried was actually supposed to be the first day of Revival Mom Academy. It was supposed to be the first day. And I remember just weeping and being like, am I supposed to, Lord, like, am I supposed to still do this today? Is this something that, like, because I don't want to be stopped by the enemy. The enemy doesn't want what you have to get to these women. So am I supposed to do this? And because I knew I hadn't gone 5 minutes without crying, I was like, there's no way I can do this today. So it actually was pushed back for 2 weeks. It was pushed back for 2 weeks. And the day that I started was right after my husband had said, I believe in God, for the first time I had ever heard him say it. And so my husband had said that, and I realized this right now is overcoming that attack. This right now is increasing that territory, right? Because now I get to step into this with saying, my husband now believes. And this is what we've walked through, and this is what I'm going to teach you. Now I have that territory. It's like I planted that flag here. And I did, for 2 weeks, we pushed it out, but it wasn't a thought in my mind to stop. And because I know that this is what God has called me to. It's almost when you feel it so deep in your gut. I wish I knew the verse. Gosh, is it Jeremiah? But he says that if I do not speak of you and what you've done, my bones will grow weary. And that's almost that place that it's in, that I was in. And I just have to. I know that this is what you have for me. And it may look messy. It might look completely different than what I expected. And yet I will keep walking forward if that is what you want me to do.
Yeah. Wow. I didn't know it was the same day. That's
Yeah.
the things that come against us to stop the movement that we have inside of us it's crushing. And I thank you for pushing through, for all the moms out there that need you, that truly need you. And I know a lot of people would say, well, they need God, they need this, they need that. No, they need what's inside of Alyssa to be released so they can receive it. And this adversity, this push through, this crushing is now on the other side, is now genuine, raw, new influence that she gets to impart into all the people that hear her voice. And she is such a powerhouse, and she cares and she loves so much for people in the ways that she interacts with them. And so I love, Alyssa, how you're sharing just the vulnerable part of this. And this last week, Malachi, today, it's actually his 16th birthday, my youngest son. And over this last week, I've just gone through these moments where I've broke down and cried. And I didn't know why until I drove 3 hours on Tuesday to go and see his first soccer game. And I used to see every single thing that he did and before I moved. And, I had to make a choice. And I do use the word had because I had to make a choice on either I was going to take care of Jacoby and the issues and the struggles that we got to deal with there, or I was going to stay back in Dubuque where all my kids live and be there. And I think I just, over this last week, recognized how I felt like, and the enemy in my mindset tried to come against me of, you really haven't been there as a dad. that you haven't been there at his games. You haven't been there to raise him. You haven't you this and so my mindset was like, man, I've missed out on so much of Malachi's life because here I am 3 hours away. Now yet I drive once or maybe even twice a month, the 3.5 hours to go and see them, and spend the weekend there. So I mean, it's not that I'm not there. I talk to them pretty much every day. But there's just those lies of things that, man, you're not doing enough, and that your struggle is there. And so this week when I showed up at his soccer game, and here he is, he's 16 years old, and he's like, Dad, I'm so glad you're here. Telling all his friends about that his dad's here. And granted, I'm one of the only people in the stands because it was an away game. And it was so funny because most of my kids, my kids are 2.5 black. So 2 kids that are black, and then my daughter's mixed. And so I'm the minority. And so when he tells his friends that his dad's in the stands, his friends are like, well, there's only one white dude in this. And it's like, what? He's like, no, that's my dad. That's my dad. And he was so excited. And just to see that look on his face. And, I share that because I had to push through some of those mindset things of like, man, gosh, this is not what I wanted my life to look like. I'm here as a father figure. And yet not even a part of my everyday life of some of my kids. And it's not what I thought this was going to look like. And so I just felt like it was the same thing for you. Like, this isn't what you thought. You didn't think that this was going to happen the day of the launch and then a couple of days later, all those types of things. But when we stay focused on what it is that we have to release, like no matter what, you're a revival mom. You're the revival mom. No matter what, I'm a father. I'm the man in orange. You put that orange jacket on me. You put that red jacket on Alyssa. Oh, it's over. Like we're gonna own it. We're gonna own it.
Right.
And I remember, Alyssa, when we went on like this little tour type thing down in Dallas, and we had kind of like spoken before and things like that, but we kind of had worked really hard at some of our talk. And then when we got there, we're like, I think we're just gonna do it. And it wasn't exactly what we thought, but we grew closer together during that time because uh, of all the things that we had been through, and because we knew that we put on that jacket and we owned that stage. That didn't matter what was going on at home. It didn't matter what our mindset was. It didn't matter if we didn't think we knew what to say. For you and I feel like it's so important that people recognize that sometimes when you have so much coming in as you've received, that sometimes you just need to open up your mouth and allow it to rush out.
Yes.
And I believe that that's something so powerful that you have, Alyssa, is to just be able to open up your mouth and release the love that you have for people through what you have to say. And so I thank you for being so vulnerable and for doing that for the kids. I'd like to ask you one more thing.
Yeah.
If people wanted to start something like Revival Mom or a ministry and have these hesitations or have these backgrounds of like, I don't really know what to do, what would you say is kind of like their first steps to be like, yes, I'm going to take this step forward?
Ooh, that is a really great question. You just, how do I say this? I'm kind of someone, I'm like, you just start. I know that doesn't answer your question at all. For me, it really just started in prayer, and also at getting wise counsel from people that I trust. For example, my friend called me one day and I was thinking about starting the podcast. And I was like, what do you think about this? And I shared everything with her and she was like, yes, Alyssa, like, of course you're going to start a podcast. And I was just like, okay. And this was already after my husband had said, hey, you know what you should do? Totally random, by the way. Weren't even talking about it. You should start a podcast. All right. So listen to those things. Seek out wise counsel. Seek out people who are encouraging, but are also going to be truthful with you. Because I know that my friend would have been like, I don't know, Alyssa, maybe you should do this instead. I see this for you, right? Instead, she's like, oh no, of course, that's what you're going to do. So I think that's the first thing, because one, you want to get that encouragement from God, right? He's going to show you all the reasons why he's chosen you. And then two, it's good to get those who are close to you and who you know will share truth with you to keep you going as well. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's so good. That's so good. I love that you said, like, just start. Just start. And it's okay. And revival is messy. It's messy to start off with, and that's okay. But revival is also, God is a God of order. And so no matter how messy you start, there's going to be order brought to it. And just know that it's okay to take a step. And when you take that step, it may be in the right way. It may just need to be a little tweak. And that's okay. And you know what? Even through it, you've shown that there's going to be adversity. There's going to be crushings. There's going to be pressings that come against you. And you just got to keep on going. Just got to keep on taking one step in front of the other. So thank you for sharing all that. And I know that people will love that, being able to just take the first step and do it imperfectly. And that's okay.
Yeah.
So where can people go if they want to be able to follow you in this journey and Revival Mom and the podcast? How can people get involved?
You can find me on all social media platforms as Alyssa Rahn, and then go to Revival Mom Podcast. You can find it everywhere on all platforms. Definitely come give that a listen. And Devin, I'd love to give everyone listening, I have Ignite Revival in Your Home, powerful declarations and prayers to spark revival. And so I'd love to give that to them for free. It goes over, like, this is your authority as a child of God. Step into it, pray these prayers, declare these things, and you'll see some differences shift. So, and you can get that at revivalmompraise.com. I know you'll have the links, so I don't need to.
Yeah, we'll drop all of those inside the description and the links below. And yeah, powerful decrees. The I am statements, the decrees that you are speaking over your family, over your kids, over your future kids, over whatever it looks like for your influence is so important that we speak it out as though it is, and then we step into it fully. And so thank you for gifting people with that. And I know they're gonna dive right into it and love it as well. So Alyssa, today school's almost done. But before we go, is there one thing that you want all of our listeners to walk away remembering from this episode with the Revival Mom?
Yes, I think the main thing that I want you to just get is that your influence, the extra territory, it's going to come in those hard moments and in the crushing and in the pressing, and just keep pushing through it, because that is what's going to just bring people to you. It's what's going to give you the story that connects to their hearts and allows you to speak life right into them. So come
So
in the
good.
press.
Yes, so good, so good. Well, revival doesn't start in the crowds. It starts in the quiet. It starts when one person says yes to being seen, to being real, and to being used. And so, Alyssa, thank you for reminding us of all those things today. You didn't have to wait to be perfect, but you chose to be present in the times when you needed to be present, and you chose to press forward when you needed to press forward. And so that's the kind of influence that changes the world. And I'm so honored to be your friend and to walk alongside of you in this journey and to encourage you in this. But for the listeners today, school is dismissed, but your influence never takes a day off. Stay bold, stay focused, and go and leave your legacy. Bye.